In the twilight of their college youth, when the world seemed infinite and dreams boundless, they found each other in a bustling corridor of an old dormitory at a prestigious college. He was a young entrepreneur with a burning spark in his eyes and a passion for innovation, and she was a dreamy, sincere, and lively soul, always ready to support and inspire. Together, they dreamed of a magnificent future where their love and ambitions intertwined into one, where every day was filled with new discoveries and evening walks under the starry sky served as a quiet testament to their union. In those youthful years, it seemed that nothing could shake their bond. Every word and every smile became a brick in the foundation of their shared history, a bridge toward a future so bright and promising. On those long nights, when the college town filled with the sounds of laughter, conversations, and gentle music, they imagined a day when they would change the world together. He often pictured himself as a successful businessman, creating something grand, while she saw in him the perfect partner, capable of bringing even the boldest ideas to life. Their days were full of joint projects, long discussions about the future, and heartfelt promises that no trial could ever break them apart. Each sunrise brought hope, and every sunset reinforced their certainty that only the best awaited them. Thus their trust grew, like a spring seed slowly sprouting in the fertile soil of shared aspirations and desires. Over the years, they weathered both joy and hardship together. There were moments when life appeared clear and bright, when successes were bolstered by mutual support and warmth, and conversations about the future filled their hearts with confidence and light. Gatherings with friends, joint mountain excursions, and long trips to small towns all contributed to an atmosphere of serene happiness, where every moment was treasured and irreplaceable. They could not imagine life without one another, convinced that no matter how fate twisted their path, their love would remain unchanging and eternal. They wrote letters to each other, collected small mementos, and shared moments of joy as symbols of the fact that love is not merely a word, but a profound emotion experienced with every passing day. Then came times of change, when ambitious dreams clashed with the harsh realities of business. He launched his own venture, brimming with risky hopes and daring projects, firmly believing that his ideas could revolutionize established norms. His energy and determination inspired many, and success seemed inevitable. Together they devised plans, discussed prospects, and built a future in which his name would be synonymous with innovation and progress. Yet behind the gleam of success loomed a shadow of unpredictable market fluctuations and force majeure events that in one fateful moment could shatter even the strongest bonds. And so, just as their dreams appeared on the brink of fulfillment, fate took an unexpected turn. A storm of setbacks, like a lightning-fast tempest, descended upon his business. Losses mounted day by day, and the hopes that had once enveloped their future began to fade. Years of relentless work, evenings spent searching for new ideas, suddenly turned into days of agonizing reflection and nights filled with anxiety. His once fiery confidence wavered, and the dreams of prosperity slowly dissolved into the bitter realities of an unpredictable market. The looks that had once burned with optimism now reflected pain and doubt, and every ringing phone call brought news of further misfortune, making his heart pound with fear and unrest. Despite all his efforts, the business started to show cracks, and the shared world they had built began to crumble. Under the weight of financial turmoil, when plans for the future were replaced by the cold truth, an unspoken tension took root in their home, as palpable as a biting winter wind on a sweltering summer day. He, who had once been the pillar of strength and hope, now appeared gaunt and lost, while her smile gradually faded, replaced by pensive and anxious glances. Every morning began with an overwhelming sense of uncertainty, when even the simplest breakfast felt like a daunting challenge. The years that had been filled with shared joys and dreams were now replaced by long hours of silence and fragmented conversations laced with hidden accusations and painful regrets. As the first cracks began to show on the surface of their once united world, it seemed as if the colors of life were slowly draining away. He tried to muster the strength to restore what was lost, sincerely believing that it was still possible to salvage not only his business, but also the love that had long been their source of inspiration. Days filled with sleepless nights and endless discussions turned into internal battles, where every word felt like a trial and every silence an indictment. He searched for ways to revive himself, turning to friends, consultants, and even therapists, striving to reclaim the confidence he had once proudly displayed. Yet with every new failure and every loss, his hope steadily dimmed and his wounds deepened. Alongside him, a growing sense of uncertainty took hold, as if life itself had become capricious, unjust, and cruel. It was during this dark period, when the night seemed all-encompassing, that she began to lose faith not only in his ability to rebound, but also in their shared future. Within her, a seed of doubt took root, quiet yet persistent, like the cold whisper of wind in a deserted alley. She, who had once seen in him the embodiment of all the best qualities, started to wonder, would he ever rise again, or was their love doomed to fade into oblivion? These thoughts, like invisible chains, bound her and drove her to seek solace in another's embrace. At first, it was only fleeting glances and accidental touches. Then, intimate conversations with someone who exuded confidence, success, and the promise of restoring the security she so desperately craved. Remembering the times when life had been simpler, she attempted to quench the inner thirst for assurance that now seemed so unattainable in the world she once knew. Her soul, torn between the past and the present, sought answers in the words of friends and the advice of loved ones, yet she found no comfort that could mend the shattered trust. Increasingly, she would wander the nighttime city, leaving behind the home filled with memories and the silent cries of pain, in search of a new beginning, even if only a fleeting one, in the midst of the urban clamor. Each such outing brought new encounters, new emotions, and new stories, which she tried to weave into the fabric of her reality. Gradually, her heart, lost in a labyrinth of doubts and hopes, began to find solace in the arms of a stranger, a man whose success and self-assurance appeared to embody the very qualities she so desperately sought in her broken world. At first, everything unfolded as subtly as a soft whisper of wind that penetrates the most hidden corners of the soul. Careless smiles, chance meetings, and brief conversations, laden with promises of a better future, slowly, imperceptibly, evolved into something far greater. Within her heart grew the belief that perhaps this man could restore the lost sense of security. His words resonated with conviction, and his actions were decisive, as if he knew exactly how to lead those who had lost faith in themselves. In those moments when she gazed into his eyes, she saw a reflection of that which had been missing from her own life: the unwavering confidence in tomorrow, the steadfast strength, and above all, the capacity to love oneself. That kind of love, it seemed, was unreachable in her relationship with the one who had once been her world, but had now become a source of endless doubt and pain. In the silence of the night, as the world outside bathed in the soft glow of streetlights, she increasingly questioned why, despite all efforts and attempts to restore what was lost, she could not believe that their love was strong enough to withstand life's storms. Every new morning brought with it the bitterness of memories and an anxious trepidation for the future, causing her heart to race with fear and uncertainty. Meanwhile, he fought to find the strength to battle on, for the sake of his business, for the sake of himself. Yet every step he took was haunted by a quiet murmur of doubt, the echo of lost hopes, and a painful reality that refused to be ignored. And amid this struggle, filled with endless internal monologues and late-night conversations, a subtle alienation began to take hold between them. A thread so fine yet steadily unraveling under the strain of their circumstances. With each passing day spent in search of new solutions, the distance between them grew. A distance unseen but as chilling as a bitter winter that envelops even the warmest corners of the soul. They tried to rekindle the warmth of their past, organizing long evenings filled with conversation and seeking comfort in small gestures, like quiet walks or nights under the starlit sky. Yet the shadow of failure, looming over their future, remained indelible. Every glance, every touch was now accompanied by trepidation, and the silence that had once symbolized trust had transformed into a mute agony. During this phase of their lives, nothing remained as it once was. And both of them found themselves at a crossroads, wondering if the love that had once bound them so tightly should now give way to something new. something that could replace the lost dreams and shattered hopes. Beneath the gray shroud of everyday life and the unending reign of fate, destiny took a decisive turn, unveiling a chapter both had long feared to acknowledge. On one of those chilly autumn evenings, when twilight merged with the dark of night, the moment came that would forever alter their lives. She, overwhelmed by internal strife and excruciating doubts about his ability to rebound, could no longer contain the pain and growing insecurity that had taken root in her heart. Under the relentless barrage of setbacks and endless conversations about a lost future, she suddenly found herself faced with a choice that could shatter everything they had built together. The encounter with that stranger, whose words promised her the assurance and protection she so desperately craved, became the culmination of her inner torment. In a single moment, when her heart was filled with conflicting emotions, she surrendered herself into his arms, as if hoping to find solace in what had once seemed unattainable in her former life. This unexpected betrayal was neither planned nor anticipated. It struck like a bolt of lightning in a clear sky, illuminating every hidden fissure in their relationship. In the dimly lit corner of a city café, where she sought refuge from the biting cold and the storm of her own thoughts, the stranger approached her with a quiet, almost imperceptible confidence. His voice, calm and resolute, sounded as if he held the answers to all her questions, as if his eyes contained the very strength of a world capable of silencing the anguish of loss. She listened to him, momentarily forgetting everything else, allowing herself to believe, even if just for a fleeting instant, that the future could be different, that hope might still live. Every word, every glance from the stranger seeped into her soul, stirring up long-forgotten dreams and aspirations that she had so desperately tried to guard. In that very moment, as she felt a new strength stirring within her, she allowed herself to make a choice that she hoped would restore the security she had lost. Yet this secret betrayal, so unexpected and painful, could not remain unnoticed. A fierce internal conflict ignited within her, a battle between guilt and the desperate yearning for change, between the realization that she had betrayed the one who had shared every joy and sorrow with her, and the urge to seek comfort in something different. Every encounter with the stranger, every kiss he bestowed, became both a solace and a new torment for her. For she knew that this moment was nothing more than an escape from a pain she could not overcome. And still, despite the awareness of the consequences, she allowed herself to delve ever deeper into this forbidden world, where each minute promised a sweet respite from the bitterness of disillusionment, and every touch was a pledge that life could still be beautiful if only one dared to believe again. Meanwhile, he, oblivious to the secret turmoil within his beloved, continued to fight for his future. His days were filled with endless meetings with business partners, sleepless nights spent trying to restore his lost standing, and heavy conversations with himself as he tried to decipher every sign of his crumbling world. He sought solace in the support of old friends and loved ones who had once shared in the joy of victory, and believed that from the ashes a new sun might rise. In his eyes, a spark of determination still glowed, even as the cold reality drove him toward despair. Each morning, he met with hope, yet each evening left him with a heavy heart, full of inexpressible pain and an ever-growing shadow of loneliness. His inner world had become an arena for ceaseless doubts and questions. Where was the support that had once sustained him? Could he ever reclaim his rightful place in a world where dreams gave way to harsh truth? Meetings that once brought joy now ended in uncertainty, and words of encouragement turned into soft murmurs of loss. The echoes of past days, when everything had seemed possible and the future shone so brightly, reverberated in his mind constantly. He tried to reconnect, sincerely believing that together they could overcome every obstacle, yet every time he reached out, an invisible wall of unspoken grievances and reproach arose, one that seemed impossible to dismantle. For her, standing before the mirror of her own mistakes and losses, a period of deep self-reflection had begun. Inside, a storm of guilt, shame, and profound disappointment raged, directed both at herself and at the circumstances that had led her to betray the one so dear to her. Every minute spent in solitude and contemplation made it clear that she had lost something invaluable, something that could not be restored by mere apologies or promises. Her inner world had become an arena of endless doubts and questions. How could she have allowed herself to be ensnared by someone else's confidence, forgetting the very ties that once bound them? And how could she now find the strength to forgive not only him, but herself? In those moments when the rain tapping against the window mirrored the turmoil within her, she sought tranquility in letters, diaries, and long walks along the deserts of the night, hoping that somewhere among the shadows of the past lay an answer that could bring back the lost light. At last, on one of those evenings when time itself seemed to slow down and the air thickened with heavy anticipation, they found themselves face to face with an unavoidable truth. Sitting across from each other at an old wooden table, they exchanged long, searching glances that spoke of pain, regret, and, surprisingly, a quiet spark of hope. He softly confessed his readiness to fight for their love, no matter the cost, while she, her voice trembling, admitted that she could no longer live in a world where the past had so harshly hardened her heart. Those simple, naked words marked a turning point, the moment when a desire to rebuild lost trust was kindled once again, even though the road ahead would be strewn with scars and fears. Thus began a new phase of their struggle, a fight for redemption, for the chance to forgive and forget, for an opportunity to build a future on the ruins of old dreams. Each new day brought challenges and moments when the past threatened to intrude once more, yet they, like two weary travelers, learned to support one another, even as storms still raged within. They found solace in shared walks in the rain, in long conversations where honesty replaced deceit, and in silences filled with understanding and acceptance. In that quiet, almost imperceptible process of recovery, they realized that true love could survive any storm, provided both were willing to acknowledge their mistakes and move forward. Time, like a slow current slipping through one's fingers, continued its relentless flow, and in its stream they both began to learn how to live anew. His path to recovery was littered with obstacles and moments of doubt. Yet with each passing day he increasingly felt the embers of hope rekindling within him. He started to meet people who believed in his potential, sought new ideas, and gradually came to realize that every failure was merely a step toward something new. Meanwhile, within her, a quiet rebellion still simmered, a protest against adversity, against a fate that had so brutally transformed their world. Her internal conflict reached its peak as she recognized that the betrayal she had committed had left an indelible mark, and that to move on, she would have to accept her guilt and find a way to forgive not only him but herself. On one chilly winter evening, when the frost knocked at the windows, they found themselves once again together in a small yet cozy room, where time seemed to stand still. The soft glow of a lamp shimmered in their eyes, and in that almost sacred silence, they began to speak of what had long been hidden, the pain, the fears, and the dreams that had once bound them together. He recounted his nights filled with anxiety and despair, every phone call that made his heart race with the terror that another blow of fate might follow. She, in turn, revealed how agonizing it had been to accept the thought of having betrayed his trust, how each accidental touch reminded her of the path she had chosen. These confessions, uttered in quiet intimacy, served as the first tentative steps toward mutual forgiveness and healing. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, trust, long thought lost, began to mend between them. They resumed long walks, planned small joys of life together, and re-established the web of understanding that had once so tightly bound their souls. Every conversation, every touch was imbued with a newfound strength. A strength drawn from the depths of their shared suffering, but now dedicated to creating something real and new. He began to share his plans, dreaming of the day when his business would rise again from the ashes, while she, watching his tireless struggle, slowly started to believe once more in the miracle of rebirth. In those quiet, almost intimate moments, when the world around them appeared frozen in time, they rediscovered in each other the support they had thought lost, even as the scars of the past lingered on their hearts. Over time, their relationship assumed new hues, shades of bitterness and joy, of pain and hope, that intertwined to form a complex yet uniquely beautiful mosaic of their shared life. They learned not only to forgive each other, but also to accept the inherent imperfections that make love genuine and alive. Every new encounter and every moment they spent together became a testament that even the deepest wounds can begin to heal, given time and space. And though the shadows of the past still occasionally surfaced in their memories, they could no longer destroy what they had built together. A bridge that, though painstakingly constructed, steadily carried them toward a new dawn. As spring began to seep into the waning twilight of winter, they felt that, along with the season's arrival, hidden forces within their souls were reawakening. Forces capable of transforming pain into experience and loss into a lesson. With every sunrise, they learned to speak openly about their fears without judgment, allowing themselves to be vulnerable. For in that vulnerability lay true strength. And although the journey to recovery was long and fraught with obstacles, hand in hand they believed that love, having been forged in fire and water, could be reborn, stronger than before, able to endure any trial. In the warm glow of the fading day, as the setting sun played upon the time-worn walls of their home, they sat together at the window, watching the world slowly awaken to a new life. Their eyes met, and in that silence, heavy with sincerity and mutual understanding, was spoken more than words ever could, a promise to continue on, no matter what. It was a quiet accord that declared that even after the harshest betrayals, after the loss of faith and the shattering of dreams, love could find a way to be reborn, if only it were given the chance. Thus, through pain and doubt, through a series of harrowing trials, they began to construct a new future. A future in which every crack of the past served as a reminder of the journey they had endured. And every new smile was proof that even the deepest wounds could mend, if there was someone by your side to support and forgive. Step by step, they searched for the path toward forgiveness and renewal, knowing that true love is not measured by the number of victories or defeats, but by the ability to move forward despite it all. In the endless flow of time, where each moment was both a remembrance of what once was and a hope for what was to come, they gained a new understanding of themselves and of each other. He realized that every misstep was but a stepping stone toward growth, and slowly the embers of hope rekindled into a warm, steady flame. He immersed himself meeting new people who believed in his potential, embraced innovative ideas, and gradually recognized that each setback was a precursor to something greater. Simultaneously, within her, the internal conflict raged on, a protest against adversity and a defiance of fate, which had so cruelly altered their world. The remorse stemming from her betrayal weighed heavily upon her, and she knew that in order to move forward, she would have to face her own guilt and find the strength to forgive both him and herself. On one particularly cold winter evening, when the frost tapped insistently at the windows, they found themselves together once more in a small, snug room where time seemed to halt. The soft light of a lamp danced in their eyes, and in that almost sacred silence they began to reveal what had long been hidden: the pain, the fears, and the dreams that had once united them. He spoke of nights tormented by anxiety, of every phone call that made his heart race, with the dread of yet another blow from fate. She, with trembling honesty, recounted how unbearable it had been to come to terms with the betrayal of his trust, how every accidental caress reminded her of the divergent path she had chosen. These revelations, shared in the quiet intimacy of that moment, marked the beginning of a tentative journey toward mutual forgiveness and healing. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, trust began to rebuild between them. They resumed their long walks together, planned small pleasures in life, and slowly reknit the fabric of understanding that had once so completely bound them. Every conversation and every touch acquired a new power, a power that arose from the depths of their shared suffering, but was now harnessed to create something genuine and new. He began to confide his dreams of a day when his business would rise triumphantly from the ashes, and as she watched his relentless determination, she slowly started to believe in the possibility of renewal. In those quiet, almost sacred moments when the outside world seemed to pause, they rediscovered in each other the strength to carry on, even as the scars of their past lingered as solemn reminders. Over time, their relationship assumed fresh hues, a spectrum of bitterness intertwined with joy, pain mingled with hope, that together formed a complex yet profoundly beautiful mosaic of their shared existence. They learned not only to forgive one another, but also to accept the imperfections inherent in human love, a love that remains real and vibrant despite its flaws. Each new encounter, every moment of shared vulnerability, stood as a testament that even the most profound wounds can begin to heal when nurtured by time and understanding. And though memories of the past still occasionally surfaced, they no longer held the power to destroy what had been painstakingly built. A bridge over which they continued step by step toward a promising new day. As spring's gentle light began to pierce the lingering shadows of winter, they felt, alongside the changing season, the stirring of hidden forces within their souls. Forces capable of transforming pain into wisdom and loss into an enduring lesson. With every new dawn, they learned to articulate their fears with openness and honesty, shedding the weight of judgment and embracing vulnerability as a source of strength. Although the path to recovery was long and riddled with obstacles, hand in hand they held on to the belief that love, even after enduring the fiercest storms, could be reborn, stronger, more resilient, and capable of withstanding any challenge. In the soft glow of the departing day, as the sunset cast its gentle light upon the weathered walls of their home, they sat together at the window, watching the world outside slowly stir to life once again. Their eyes met, and in that quiet silence, so rich with sincerity and mutual understanding, there lay a promise more potent than words. A vow to continue walking the path ahead, no matter the hardships. This silent covenant declared that even after the most bitter betrayals, even after the shattering of trust and dreams, love could find a way to bloom anew if given the chance. Thus, through the intertwining of pain and doubt, and amidst a succession of grueling trials, they began to carve out a new future. A future where every fissure of the past served as a reminder of the journey they had traversed, and every fresh smile testified to the possibility of healing. Together, they set forth on the arduous path toward forgiveness and renewal, knowing deep in their hearts that true love is measured not by the tally of victories or defeats, but by the unwavering resolve to move forward, despite all odds, in that ceaseless stream of time, where every moment bore the dual weight of remembrance and hope. They finally discovered a new understanding of themselves and each other. The errors of the past no longer defined their fate. Instead, they became lessons that enriched them, rendering them wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. And as a genuine light began to glimmer once more in their eyes and their hands finally found each other in the darkness, they understood they had made the right choice. A choice that, despite all the pain and loss, had opened the door to a new life where the past yielded to a luminous present and a love that, having endured the fire of trials, emerged all the more priceless.
Thank you for watching this video and diving into the captivating world of stories with me. If you enjoyed these tales and want to hear even more incredible stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. See you in the next video.